What up, crew? Welcome back to CineChamber. And to those of you that are new, I hope you join the crew by subscribing. Today, we're talking about a movie that was in theaters recently and I believe is actually coming to streaming really soon if it's not already there. Evil Dead Burn. I believe, third one in the Evil Dead reboot franchise. I guess let me double check and look at that. Yeah, Evil Dead Rise, and then Evil Dead Burn. Okay, so basically Evil Dead Burn is after the loss of her husband, a woman seeks solace with her in-laws. As one by one they transform into deadites, she comes close to discover that the vows she took in her life survive even in death. Which that little end sentence is kind of funny. But yeah, it's basically about this girl. Her name, let me look here, is Alice. Alice is played by Suhelia Jacob. I do not know her. I guess she's in Dune Part 2, but I don't recognize her personally. Either way, she is kind of the main person we follow. She is, of course, married into the family that we follow for this story. Basically, this story really starts out with we're playing a tape, we're hearing the tape, of course, like all the other Evil Deads. Some stuff that shouldn't be being said or read is being said and read. Joseph, character played by Hunter Doohan, is interested in some of his grandfather's old knowledge that he has in the house that his parents had gifted to him. And upon the which you might know Hunter Doohan, at least I do. He plays Tyler Galpin in Wednesday, which is the Hyde. So I just thought that was interesting because I was just watching Wednesday right before I went to see this. And anyway, he plays this stuff, and of course, it awakens something. It awakens somebody you might know from Rise, Jessica, who is recast by Greta Van Den Brink. She's a very minor part, of course. She just kind of ties everything together and gets the deadites moving and gets the hardcore, gruesome everything moving. She basically sabotages Will, played by George Poller, and ends up getting him killed, essentially. Also, cursing him into becoming a deadite. She looks specifically for him or somebody in their family, since the grandfather of their family had a bunch of knowledge about the deadites and the book of the Necronomicon and things of that nature. So she wants to curse their family so the deadites themselves can find information out to potentially be able to stop them from being stopped. So we move forward with the story a little bit more. It introduces Joseph's brother, Will, who's dead, but then it also introduces his mom, who's played by Tandy Wright, who's Susan. And she plays Ruth in Pearl, if maybe you've seen that. And then it also introduced Joseph's wife, who is Thea, played by Lucien Buchanan. And then it also introduces the father, Edgar, who's played by Errol Shand. All of them very interesting. Oh, and of course, one of the other interesting characters is Maud, played by Maud Davey, who is Polly. That it kind of introduces us to the whole family. And they all kind of go back to Joseph's house that was gifted to him by his parents, and start spending the evening together after the funeral of Will. That's really where the movie kicks off. That's the basic plot point of what gets the movie pacing forward and why everything, becomes a shit show, essentially, since this is Evil Dead. I thought this movie was really excellent, honestly. It was gory and hardcore and just the some of the aesthetic and some of the filming choices that they did was really, really good. There was also a dog involved in the family that I just felt bad for, man, because the family arguably were just bad people. All of them were bad people. Alice, the main girl that we follow, she's kind of the redemption of the family. She's one of the better ones, and she's French, I believe. She's from France. She kind of married into the family, and it seems like the parents, at least, kind of really resent her for being French, maybe, or for not being who they wanted their son Will to marry. And they just don't really like her. And so after Will's death, there's just some tension there, especially since they're all staying at the house together. And it just kind of causes layers of the family to be exposed, and how they are, how the different characters are as people. So of course, I'm not going to get into any spoilers or anything. There were just some really, really good filmed scenes in this. Again, the gore and the hardcoreness of the modern Evil Dead movies lives on through this movie. It just kept moving forward in ways that I really enjoyed, and this one was possibly my favorite of the modern Evil Dead series. It's just really, really good, and that's basically most I can say about it. What I want to do is I actually want to go in and I want to talk about the different characters. So Alice, again, she's married into the family. She's French. She's, had a rough go at it. She is kind of she's not treated very well by her husband, Will. We come to find out she helps run his businesses. And she's just, like I said, she's kind of the redemption arc for the audience to view through, because she's the one kind of good character, good person in the movie. As far as Susan goes, the mother of the family, she's just really, really weak. It seems like she'll do just about anything to keep her family together. And I mean, she'll do just about anything, which again sounds like a strong trait, but I believe she's weak because her moral characteristics are kind of thrown out the window with some of the actions that she chooses, especially throughout the movie, but probably the way she describes some of the actions she has chosen through her life just makes her just kind of a pathetic person who just kind of resigned away her hopes and dreams to have a family. So she kind of wants to keep that family as best as possible. And that's kind of what leads her to being hateful and stuff towards Alice in general. So it just makes her like a really weak person. You have the one other person that you believe is kind of a redeeming character, which is Joseph, the brother to Will. And he's sympathetic to Alice's character, who we're kind of viewing it from. You almost think that he might be also the final kind of guy with Alice, and might actually be the only good one in the family, but he takes actions in this movie that are so unforgivable, and he takes some of that weak quality from Susan, but in his own way, and he just makes horribly pathetic decisions that definitely would take away from what I could consider to be his manhood in the way he chooses cowardice at certain times when he really shouldn't be. Thea, she is the wife of Joseph. She's married into the family. The family likes her. I'm not 100% sure what it is. Maybe it's because Joseph is a weaker male subject in the family, that Thea's a little bit stronger, a little bit more competent. She's also one of the good redeeming characters. I feel like again, she's married in the family, so I didn't really see too much bad with her as a character. She just gets a series of unfortunate events befall upon her, and it just she was honestly my favorite. Probably my favorite character in the movie was Thea. She was a really just good and interesting character. Then there's Edgar, who's the paternal the dad of the family, and he is literally the biggest jerk. He's the one of the worst characters, the worst people. He loves his son Will mostly, who is now dead, and he is kind of losing his mind, going crazy, and just he's just really abusive. He's abusive to their dog. He's abusive to the whole family. Really, he's like he is the, like, in my opinion, main antagonist, other than like the Deadites themselves as a whole are the main antagonist. He himself, before the Deadites kind of take over the whole situation, he is the antagonist in to the family in general, or at least to Alice, who's kind of who we're seeing stuff through, even to Joseph, who we're seeing a lot through. Yeah, so he's just a pathetic person, and he's a really good character because of that. Because of how aggressive and hardcore he is and how abusive he is. It makes him to be a good character, even though I disapprove of those qualities as a person. And then there's Will is the other son who is dead, and he's also a jerk. Again, he's a business owner, and he's kind of he's just really selfish, and he's a tool, and he's not in the movie for very long. And then the other person to really talk about is Polly, which is the grandma. And the grandma, she's the comic relief. She has like dementia or something, so she just says some off the wall, goofy things, and it's hard to gauge how she is as a person because she's just elderly and just is generally falling apart and needs a lot of care from the family, and the family isn't giving her the care that she really needs. So yeah, she's just the comic relief. She says goofy things. And yeah, that's kind of her whole purpose there. So that's my kind of feelings about the movie, about the characters. That's really what this movie is about, is the characters of the movie itself, which makes for a really engaging movie, in my opinion. So I personally would rate this movie a 9 out of 10. I thought the director, Sebastian Venisek, I don't know. He did a fantastic job. Like I said, there was some like one shot tracking. There's a one camera tracking shot through one of the like kind of main battle fight scenes or aggressive horror action scenes that was really, really engaging and really, really well filmed. So I really liked that. So if I'm going to rank this movie as far as 2026 movies go, from what I've seen, I personally rank it right below the movie Michael, which I've done on this channel. Michael is just a really good biopic, in my opinion. I also have kind of a soft spot for Michael Jackson in general because of, my past and how I grew up. My sister really, really loved Michael Jackson growing up, like still loves him to this day, but he was a large part of my young childhood, his music and stuff. And so to me, the biopic was just really well done and really well made. So yeah, I put Evil Dead Burn right below that. And then I put Evil Dead Burn right above one of the newer movies, The Odyssey, which I don't believe I've gotten to record yet, but it's coming soon. I'll put that one out soon. The Odyssey was fantastic. Also, just a grandiose, epic adventure. There's just something about the hardcore, horror, gruesome, just ridiculous elements of Evil Dead Burn that I liked a little bit better. But I just like horror a lot, so that's kind of on me. I'm sure more people are going to like The Odyssey than they're going to like Evil Dead Burn, but that's where it befalls on me. So if I was going to put Evil Dead Burn inside of a capsule of the decade of the 2020s, for me, I put Evil Dead Burn right below The Naked Gun that came out last year in 2025, starring Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson. That movie was so funny. One of the funniest modern 2020 movies I have seen, and that's not a joke. Literally one of the best comedies to come out this decade. You have to see it. And then Evil Dead Burn is again right above The Odyssey as far as it goes for me. So I really appreciate you stopping by and checking out this review and hanging out with me for a little bit. If you like this review or you like Evil Dead Burn, I really appreciate it. Or if you like spoiler-free movie reviews, I really appreciate you subscribe to the channel. It's going to be a bunch more coming. Again, one for The Odyssey is coming out soon. If you want to like the video, that'd be great. If you like Evil Dead, like the video, I'd really appreciate that. And then just let me know, what did you think about Evil Dead Burn if you've seen it? Or Do you want to see Evil Dead burn? And do you like the new Evil Dead, the modern Evil Dead, or do you like the old Evil Dead better? I'd really love to know your opinions on that. Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.